The first thing Arya noticed was silence. Not the kind of quiet that fills a home at night, but a silence so vast it felt like space itself had stopped breathing. She blinked against the soft glow of the control panels, the hum of the starship barely a whisper beneath her boots. Around her, the crew stirred slowly, adjusting to life aboard the Aurora's Dawn, a vessel that had carried humanity further into the stars than anyone had ever dreamed. Arya, though young, carried a calm determination in her deep brown eyes. She had been chosen as one of the first human leaders to journey beyond the solar system after the great cataclysm on Earth, an event that had left her people scattered and struggling. Earth was gone, not completely, but changed forever. Cities were reduced to ashes. Oceans swirled with uncertainty, and the forests had reclaimed their own space. Yet humanity survived. That survival was more than just breathing. It was a promise. Today marked the first day of a new mission. Unlike previous journeys filled with exploration or science, this one had a deeper purpose: to find a world where humans could truly begin again. A planet that could hold their stories, their dreams, and their hope. And though she had been told to expect obstacles, Arya felt a spark of excitement that made her heart race like the engines of the ship itself. The crew and the ship, the Aurora's Dawn, was more than a ship. It was a small city in space, with greenhouses growing food, workshops where inventors tinkered with ideas that might one day change a world, and observatories where children learned to read the stars. The crew was a mix of ages, backgrounds, and talents. There were engineers who could fix anything from broken circuits to broken hearts, teachers who could turn the knowledge of 1,000 generations into stories a child could understand, and diplomats whose words could calm a storm more effectively than any shield or weapon. Arya walked through the corridors, greeting each member with a smile. Some nodded back. Others were too focused on their work. She understood. Every person on board carried a weight. They were the survivors, yes, but they were also the builders of the future. And building a future from ashes was never simple. In the training room, she paused to watch two young engineers adjusting a set of solar collectors. One was human, the other a Lithari, a species with translucent skin and luminous eyes, capable of sensing energy in ways humans could only imagine. The Lithari had been skeptical of humans at first, but over time, they had grown to respect them. Now they worked side by side, their hands moving in harmony. Almost done, the human engineer said, wiping sweat from his forehead. The Lithari responded with a soft hum. Your design is clever. Simple yet efficient, Arya's heart lifted. This was what the journey was about. Not just finding a new home, but creating a new way of living together, across species, across the universe. The message from the stars. Suddenly, the communications console beeped. A soft, irregular tone, different from the routine messages they received from other ships or satellites. Arya hurried over. The screen displayed a simple pattern of light, almost like a pulse repeating every few seconds. Orion, her first officer, appeared beside her. He was tall, calm, and always seemed to notice details no one else could. Another anomaly? Arya asked. Orion's fingers danced over the console. Not sure yet. The signal isn't from any known human or allied source. It's subtle, almost musical. Arya frowned. Musical? Yes, he said, eyes narrowing. It has rhythm, not random noise. Someone or something is trying to communicate. The crew gathered slowly, curiosity replacing the quiet routine. The hum of the ship seemed to shift, as if it too was listening. Arya took a deep breath. She felt the weight of history pressing gently on her shoulders. Humanity had risen from destruction once, and now, the stars themselves seemed to be inviting them to rise again. A new discovery by evening, the science team had decoded parts of the signal. It was not a language, at least not in the way humans understood it, but a sequence of patterns that suggested a living intelligence. Each pattern was like a heartbeat, steady and deliberate. This is extraordinary, said Dr. Myra, the lead scientist. Her hair glowed softly in the light of the console, her voice filled with awe. It's like they are reaching out, not to tell us something, but to invite us, to show us that the universe is bigger than we ever imagined. Arya nodded. She felt a thrill that mingled with a hint of fear. The unknown had always been a double-edged sword. It could inspire or it could overwhelm. But she had learned this lesson long ago. Fear could not guide humanity. Curiosity, courage, and care could. Orion stepped closer. Captain, the patterns repeat every 42 minutes. It's too consistent to be accidental. I believe we're being observed. Or tested. Arya's lips pressed into a thin line. Then we will respond with the best of what we are. With hope, with wisdom, and with the determination that allowed us to rise before. A human story. That night, Arya went to the observation deck. The planet below was a swirling marble of blues and greens, uncharted, untouched, inviting. She remembered Earth, her home, her memories of rivers, mountains, and the warmth of sunlight on her face. Earth had been beautiful, but it had ended. The ashes remained, but so did the lessons. Humanity had learned to endure, to rebuild, to reach out beyond the stars. As she looked at the cosmos, a thought struck her. The universe had paused, waiting to see what humanity would do next. Perhaps the stars themselves were alive, not in the way humans understood life, but in a way that observed, remembered, and inspired. Arya? Orion's voice called gently behind her. She turned, seeing him standing in the doorway. Yes, the crew is ready. They're looking for direction. Your direction. Arya took a deep breath. Then let's give it to them. Not with force, not with control, but with ideas, hope, and the promise that humanity can rise again. This time, stronger and wiser. Orion nodded. I believe they are ready to follow you. And perhaps the stars too. The first step morning came slowly, painting the deck in soft shades of gold and silver. The crew gathered, a mix of humans, Lithari, and other allies they had met along the journey. Arya stepped forward, feeling their eyes upon her, each gaze filled with trust, curiosity, and anticipation. We stand at the edge of a new beginning, she said. Her voice carried across the deck, steady and warm. Earth is behind us, but not forgotten. The universe is ahead, full of mysteries, lessons, and opportunities. We will face them together, and we will do so not as conquerors, but as learners, builders, and friends. A ripple of excitement spread through the crowd. Children laughed softly. Adults nodded. And even the Lithari, reserved and quiet, showed signs of approval. Arya raised her hand toward the stars. We will rise, from the ashes, into the light. And the stars will hold their breath to watch us. For a moment, the universe seemed to pause. The stars gleamed brighter. The pulse of the mysterious signal matched the rhythm of hope in human hearts, and a feeling of infinite possibility settled over the crew. The first step had been taken. Humanity was awake again, and the stars were watching. The Aurora's dawn moved steadily through the starry expanse, its hull shimmering under the light of distant suns. Outside, the stars stretched like silver threads, endless and silent. Inside, the crew worked with quiet purpose. Ever since the mysterious signal had been detected, the ship was alive with a subtle energy. It was not fear nor mere curiosity. It was a sense that something remarkable was about to unfold. Captain Arya stood at the observation deck, her eyes tracing the patterns of stars. The signal had a rhythm that almost seemed to echo the pulse of life itself. She could not explain why, but each repetition felt like a gentle whisper, guiding humanity toward a new destiny. Captain, Orion's voice broke her thoughts. He had been studying the signal with Dr. Myra in the communication lab. We've translated a portion of it. Not words exactly, but a series of instructions, coordinates. It's like a map. Or an invitation. Arya turned, her heart quickening. Coordinates to where? Orion hesitated. Far, beyond any star we've charted. Somewhere untouched, waiting, I think. I think it may be a habitable planet. Arya felt a thrill of hope. Humanity had wandered in the darkness for years, searching for a place to call home. Could this signal truly lead them there? And if it did, what wonders would await? Preparing for a new world. The crew gathered in the main hall to discuss the discovery. Engineers, scientists, and explorers all leaned forward, their eyes bright with anticipation. Dr. Myra explained carefully, the signal's energy pattern suggests a planet with a balanced atmosphere. Oxygen levels are suitable for humans, water is abundant, and the gravity is close to Earth's. This is a rare opportunity, one that might not appear again for centuries. A murmur spread through the room. Even the Lithari, who had seen many worlds, seemed unusually attentive. Arya raised her hand, silencing the room. We will prepare a small landing team. Our first goal is to observe the planet, confirm its safety, and understand its environment. This will be humanity's first step into a new chapter. Orion spoke next. We must remember, This is not just a journey for humans. The Lithari and other allies aboard are as invested as we are. We move forward together. The crew nodded in agreement. Unity was their strength, and it had carried them farther than any one species could travel alone. The journey through the unknown. The ship adjusted its course according to the signal. Days passed in quiet anticipation, with the crew performing routine checks and preparing equipment. Outside, space stretched endlessly, a canvas of light and darkness. Arya spent much of her time at the observation deck, studying the stars. Each night she felt a subtle connection to the universe. The signal continued to pulse softly through the ship, almost like a heartbeat in the vastness of space. It reminded her of something she had once read in old Earth literature, that the universe is alive, not in the way humans breathe or grow, but in the way it watches, waits, and remembers. One evening, as the ship passed a cluster of colorful nebulae, Arya noticed a shift in the signal. The pulse had grown stronger, faster, almost like it was excited by their approach. She called Orion to her side. "It's responding to us," she said. Orion's eyes widened. "Do you mean alive?" "Not alive as we know it," Arya replied, "but aware, attentive, like it knows we're here." The thought filled the room with a quiet awe. The crew felt a connection that went beyond technology or language. They were not alone in the universe. Something was waiting for them, guiding them, and perhaps even welcoming them. Arrival at the blue-green planet. After several weeks of travel, the Aurora's dawn approached the coordinates. Slowly, a planet came into view, vibrant, untouched, and astonishingly beautiful. Its oceans gleamed like liquid crystal, its land covered in forests and fields that swayed under a gentle wind. Clouds drifted across the sky in delicate patterns, painting shadows over mountains and rivers. "This is incredible," whispered Dr. Myra, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's perfect," Arya nodded, a quiet smile forming on her face. "It's more than perfect. It's a second chance. For humanity and perhaps for others too." The landing team was assembled carefully. Humans, Lithari, and other allies stepped onto the planet with cautious excitement. The ground beneath their feet felt solid, welcoming. Birds with iridescent feathers circled overhead, curious but unafraid. Gentle streams flowed nearby, their water sparkling like gemstones. Every step felt like a promise, every breath a gift, exploring the new world. The landing team explored the surrounding area. The air was fresh, filled with scents that reminded humans of earth forests long gone. Plants moved softly in the wind, but none appeared hostile. The team made careful notes, taking soil samples and recording observations. Orion knelt beside a small patch of glowing flowers. "These respond to touch," he said, gently brushing his fingers across a petal. The flowers shimmered in response, a soft dance of light. Dr. Myra observed the ecosystem closely. "It's balanced," she said. "Everything here supports everything else. There's harmony. The planet itself seems aware, like it's protecting life." Arya felt a deep sense of gratitude. Humanity had survived disaster once, and now they had been given an extraordinary opportunity to not just survive, but to thrive. Building trust and unity back on the ship, plans began for the first settlements. They would be small, simple, and respectful of the planet. Humans would build homes with natural materials, integrate green energy systems, and create spaces for learning and sharing. The Lithari offered advice on sustainable living, and their knowledge of energy flows helped design structures that worked with the planet, not against it. Orion and Arya walked through the planning hall, watching as crew members sketched ideas, shared suggestions, and debated solutions. "This is unlike anything Earth ever had," Orion said. "We have a chance to start fresh, to do things differently." Arya nodded. "Exactly. And we must remember every choice matters. Not just for us, but for anyone who comes after. Our story will set the tone for the generations to come." A whisper in the night. That night, as the crew rested under the stars, the signal returned. It was softer now, but unmistakable, a rhythm that echoed across the planet, reaching even the distant mountains and rivers. Arya felt it in her chest, a steady thrum that spoke of patience, guidance, and hope. She went to the observation deck once more, Orion by her side. "It's beautiful," he murmured. "Yes," Arya replied, "and it's inviting us to be part of something bigger than ourselves. We've survived the ashes, and now we're being asked to rise. The stars shone brightly above, reflected in the oceans of the New World. Somewhere in the distance, the rhythm of the signal seemed to move closer, like a promise waiting to be fulfilled. For the first time since leaving Earth, humanity felt not just alive, but truly connected to the universe. The ashes were behind them, and a new chapter was waiting to be written. A new dawn morning came slowly over the blue-green planet. Light spilled across forests and mountains, warming the streams and grasslands. The crew awoke with renewed energy, ready to take the first steps in shaping a future that could last. Arya stood on a small hill, watching the sun rise. "We are not the same humans who left Earth," she said softly. "We are stronger, wiser, and we have been given a chance to honor everything we have learned." Orion joined her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "And we won't waste it. Whatever comes next, we face it together." The crew gathered below, their voices carrying across the valley in a soft chorus of determination. Children laughed and ran through fields of glowing flowers. Humans and allies walking side by side, exploring, learning, and imagining. The Aurora's dawn remained in orbit, a beacon of hope and a reminder of the journey that had brought them here. And somewhere beyond the stars, the pulse of the mysterious signal continued, steady and welcoming. Arya lifted her eyes to the sky. "The universe is watching," she whispered. "And we are ready." The stars shimmered as if in response, and humanity's second chance had truly begun. The morning sun painted the valleys of Harmora in shades of gold and green. Mist lingered over the streams, and the gentle rustle of the forests made a soft, welcoming sound. For the first time, humanity truly felt that they were walking on a world untouched by destruction. This planet was a blank canvas waiting for their stories to be written. Captain Arya stood on a hill overlooking the small landing site. A handful of temporary shelters had been assembled, crafted from lightweight, sustainable materials designed to leave minimal impact on the environment. Humans and Lithari moved together, carrying supplies, checking equipment, and planting the first seeds of the new settlements. Orion joined her, carrying a tablet with maps and notes. "The soil is fertile," he said, eyes scanning the horizon. "These rivers could support irrigation. We can grow crops that will feed us for years without exhausting the land." Arya smiled. "Then we begin not as conquerors, but as gardeners, builders, learners. This is a chance to live differently, to honor both what we've lost and what we hope to create." The first steps of settlement. The landing team divided into groups. Some focused on surveying the land, studying the weather patterns and understanding the delicate balance of the ecosystem. Others began building community spaces, classrooms, and greenhouses, carefully integrating the knowledge of the Lithari and the humans' own engineering. Children, both human and allied species, ran through the fields laughing. Their joy was contagious, echoing across the valley, reminding everyone why they had survived the long journey. Arya watched them for a moment and felt a swell of hope. The next generation would grow up on a planet where life and learning were cherished, not taken for granted. Dr. Myra and her team of scientists had begun cataloging Harmora's flora and fauna. Strange glowing flowers lined the edges of streams, and delicate birds with translucent feathers flitted among the trees. Each organism seemed to exist in perfect harmony with its surroundings. "Everything here has purpose," Dr. Myra said, touching the petals of a shimmering flower. "Even the smallest creature contributes to the ecosystem. This planet itself is a teacher." Orion knelt nearby, examining the soil. "It's unlike anything we've seen. Rich, balanced, and adaptable. We could build homes, farms, and research centers without harming the natural flow. It's imperfect. Unity across species life on Harmora required teamwork. Humans had once been wary of other species, unsure how to communicate, unsure how to trust. But now years of shared challenges aboard the Aurora's dawn had built bridges. Humans and Lithari shared stories, techniques, and laughter. The Virine, a crystalline species who had joined the mission recently, offered insight into energy systems that harmonized with the planet's natural cycles. One afternoon, Arya visited a workshop where humans and Lithari were constructing a new type of solar collector. It was designed not only to power their shelters but also to blend with the planet's energy flow. "You see," said Lyra, a Lithari engineer, gesturing to the design. "It is efficient, but it also respects Harmora. Energy is life here. If we take too much, we disturb the balance." Arya nodded. "And that balance is what we hope to protect. We will learn, adapt, and grow alongside this planet, not against it." Humans began to understand that leadership here meant more than giving orders. It meant listening, observing, and working in harmony with others. This was a new form of strength, one born of humility and cooperation. The signal speaks again. Even as the humans settled in, the mysterious signal continued to pulse through the ship and the planet. Unlike before, its rhythm now seemed almost communicative, a gentle sequence of vibrations and patterns that resonated in the air and water. Arya stood beside Dr. Myra, feeling the soft hum through the ground. "Do you think it's guiding us?" she asked. Dr. Myra nodded. "Yes, it's subtle, but it's showing us where life can flourish. It's not just a planet, it's a mentor in its own way." Orion observed the signal on his console. "It's as if the planet itself is alive. Each pulse aligns with natural events, sunrise, tides, and even plant growth. It's teaching us patience and care, reminding us that we are small yet capable of great things when we act thoughtfully." The crew listened to the pulses quietly, feeling a connection that transcended words. For the first time in decades, humans experienced not only survival but belonging to a universe that had watched their rise from the ashes and now offered them a second chance. Challenges and lessons. Even in paradise, challenges arose. Heavy rains would occasionally flood streams, forcing the team to adapt. Certain plants proved sensitive to human activity, requiring careful observation before harvesting. Yet each difficulty was met with cooperation, creativity, and calm determination. Arya walked among the settlements, speaking with the crew, listening to their observations, and offering guidance. "Mistakes are part of learning," she told them. "What matters is that we learn quickly and respect the world around us. Harmora is teaching us patience, harmony, and understanding. Let us listen well." Orion joined her, pointing to the newly built bridge over a river. "We learned that the first structure didn't account for seasonal water flow," he said. "Now we've designed it to adapt with the current. This planet teaches us humility." Arya smiled. "Yes, and that humility is what will ensure we thrive here. We are not masters. We are students, and that is a lesson humanity sometimes forgets." A community is born. As the days passed, the small settlements began to grow into a true community. Classrooms opened for children of all species. Gardens provided food, and workshops allowed creativity to flourish. Every member of the crew had a role. Every idea was heard, and every individual felt the satisfaction of contributing to something larger than themselves. At night, the inhabitants would gather around communal spaces to share stories, songs, and dreams. Humans told tales of Earth, of oceans and forests, of mountains and cities. Letheri shared the wisdom of their ancestors, of energy flows and the balance of nature. Even the Virine contributed, their crystalline voices creating harmonic melodies that resonated with the planet. Arya watched the gatherings with a sense of pride and humility. This was more than survival. It was thriving together. This was the beginning of a world where differences were celebrated. Knowledge was shared and life was nurtured. A glimpse of the future one evening, as the twin moons of Harmora rose in the sky, casting soft light over the valleys. Arya climbed a hill to observe the settlements. From above, the glowing pathways, the small clusters of homes, and the luminous gardens painted a picture of hope. Orion joined her, silent for a moment, watching the world below. "We've come far," he said. "From ashes to life, from despair to hope. And it feels..." "Right, yes," Arya replied. "It feels like we were meant to find this place. Not because we deserved it, but because we were willing to grow, to learn, to rise together." A pulse of the signal reached them, faint but steady. It was as if Harmora itself acknowledged their progress, offering encouragement and quiet applause. Arya lifted her eyes to the sky. The stars shone brighter than ever, reflecting on the rivers and forests. Somewhere across the universe, the rhythm of the signal reminded them that they were being watched, not with judgment, but with hope. The first steps had been taken, the foundations were laid, and humanity, along with its allies, was ready to grow into the stars once more. Closing scene. Promise of growth as night fell. The crew returned to their shelters, guided by soft lights that glimmered like fireflies. Children fell asleep dreaming of forests, rivers, and skies filled with stars. Adults rested, their minds full of plans, ideas, and quiet determination. Arya and Orion lingered on the hill a little longer, feeling the pulse of the planet beneath them. We've learned much, Arya said softly. But there is still more ahead, more to discover, more to understand, Orion smiled. And we will do it together. We have the knowledge, the unity, and the courage. The stars, they are watching, and we will not disappoint them. Arya nodded, feeling the weight of the journey and the thrill of what was yet to come. Humanity had risen from the ashes. Now it was time to flourish, not just as survivors, but as creators, explorers, and guardians of a new world. The signal pulsed once more, steady and warm like a heartbeat that promised guidance, friendship, and hope. And for the first time, humans understood. The stars were not indifferent. They were patient, observant, and ready to witness humanity's rise. The future had begun. The morning light spilled across Harmora, painting the mountains in soft gold and the forests in sparkling green. The air smelled of fresh soil, flowers, and gentle rain. For the first time, humanity felt they were not merely surviving. They were living in a world that welcomed them. Captain Arya stood on a small hill overlooking one of the settlements. Homes made of sustainable materials dotted the landscape, connected by glowing pathways powered by Harmora's energy. Children laughed and ran through fields, humans and Lithari side by side, learning and playing together. The planet felt alive beneath her feet, vibrant and patient as if it had been waiting for this moment. Orion joined her, holding a tablet that displayed the latest readings from the signal. Its rhythm had changed again, slightly faster, slightly warmer, almost as if it were encouraging them. "It seems the planet is responding to our progress," he said softly. Arya nodded. "Or perhaps it has been waiting for us to reach this stage, to prove we are worthy of its guidance." The signal's secret in the communications lab, Dr. Myra had been studying the signal for weeks. She had mapped its pulses, frequencies, and energy patterns. Each variation seemed to correspond with natural events on Harmora. The tides, the growth cycles of plants, and even the gentle winds through the forests. "It's not a language in the human sense," Dr. Myra explained to Arya and Orion. "It's a form of communication based on life, growth, and harmony. The signal doesn't just tell us things, it shows us. It teaches us how to live here responsibly." Arya's eyes lit with curiosity. "Then the planet itself is a teacher?" "Yes," Dr. Myra replied. "Harmora is offering lessons, and if we pay attention, it may help us create a society unlike any humans have known before." Orion glanced at Arya, a thoughtful expression on his face. "We've survived catastrophe, rebuilt from ashes, and now we are being guided towards something greater. This is not just a second chance, it's an invitation to become better than we ever imagined." The hum of the signal seemed to echo through the walls of the lab, a gentle reminder that they were not alone. Exploring the unseen, the landing team ventured further into Harmora, eager to understand the planet more fully. Dense forest with towering trees stretched for miles, rivers wound through sparkling valleys, and mountains rose like guardians of the horizon. Every discovery was met with awe and careful observation. Arya led one of the exploration teams. She marveled at the sight of bioluminescent plants that glowed softly in the shade, creating a natural lantern along the forest paths. Strange, colorful birds with feathers like glass flitted through the branches, their songs delicate and melodic. "Everything here has purpose," Arya said to the team. "Even the smallest creature contributes to the ecosystem. We must respect it, study it, and learn from it." Orion pointed to a distant clearing where a waterfall fell into a crystal-clear pool. "We should investigate that area. It could be a perfect location for research and observation stations," Dr. Myra added. "And perhaps the signal is stronger there. It might give us more insight into what Harmora wants to teach us." The team moved carefully, mindful of the delicate balance of life surrounding them. Every footprint, every interaction was deliberate, a gesture of respect to a planet that seemed to watch their every move. Building knowledge and community, back at the settlements, work continued with energy, gardens, and education. Humans and allies built small classrooms for children, combining lessons about the universe with the natural sciences of Harmora. The Lithari shared wisdom about energy flows, while humans brought stories, history, and creativity. Even the Vereen, with their crystalline forms, contributed to engineering projects. Their knowledge of harmonic structures allowed homes and pathways to resonate with the natural frequencies of the planet, creating an invisible rhythm that made the environment feel calm and alive. One afternoon, Arya visited a workshop where children were planting seeds in small gardens. "Each of you is planting not just food but hope," she said gently. "These plants will grow as we grow, and one day you will look back and see what you helped create." A young human boy turned to her, eyes bright. "Will the stars watch us too?" Arya smiled. "They always watch. They have seen humanity rise from the ashes. Now they see us learning, building, and caring, and they are proud. A surprise from the planet." That evening, a strange phenomenon occurred. A low, gentle glow spread across the forests, rivers, and mountains of Harmora. Bioluminescent plants pulsed softly in unison, creating patterns of light that seemed deliberate, almost like writing in the air. Dr. Myra studied the phenomenon with Orion and Arya. "It's responding to our presence. The planet is acknowledging us." Arya's heart raced. "Acknowledging us or welcoming us?" Orion shrugged. "Perhaps both. It's like a teacher nodding when a student understands a lesson. Harmora seems pleased with how carefully we've treated it." The crew gathered outside to witness the glow. Children ran through the illuminated fields, their laughter mingling with the soft hum of life around them. Humans and allies alike felt a deep sense of wonder. For the first time, the planet did not feel mysterious or distant. It felt like a friend, alive, patient, and ready to guide them. Lessons in harmony. As days passed, the landing team noticed that every decision they made affected the planet in subtle ways. Gardens flourished when planned with care. Water flowed more steadily when pathways and rivers were respected. Energy systems harmonized when designed in cooperation with the natural rhythm. Arya held a meeting with the crew. "This is more than survival. This is learning to live in harmony with life itself. Harmora is teaching us patience, respect, and unity. If we listen carefully, we can build a society that lasts, not just for us, but for generations to come." Orion nodded. "We've learned that strength is not about controlling the world. It's about understanding it, working with it, and protecting it." The crew felt a renewed sense of purpose. Humanity's rise from the ashes was not complete until they had learned these lessons fully. A whisper from the stars one night. As the twin moons of Harmora rose and the settlements glowed softly below, the signal pulsed again. This time the pattern was clear, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. It moved across the sky, tracing paths above forests, mountains, and rivers. Arya and Orion stood quietly, feeling the pulse in their chests. "It's guiding us," Arya whispered, "showing us where to go, what to observe, and how to grow." Orion added, "It feels alive. Not in the way we live, but in the way it teaches. The stars brought us here, but the planet is showing us how to live." The hum resonated through every crew member who listened, a gentle reminder that growth required attention, care, and cooperation. For the first time, humans understood that the universe was not indifferent, it was patient, observant, and willing to help those who were ready to learn. Hope in action. The next morning, a group of humans and Lithari set out to explore a distant valley indicated by the signal. They moved carefully, documenting plants, animals, and patterns of the landscape. The valley was rich in resources, but also delicate. Every decision mattered. "This valley could support a new settlement," Orion said, "but only if we build carefully." "We cannot repeat the mistakes of the past," Arya nodded. "Then we will build with wisdom, creativity, and respect. Harmora has given us the tools, the guidance, and the chance. We will honor it." Dr. Myra added, "And the signal shows that when we act with care, the planet itself rewards us. Growth here is a collaboration, not a conquest." The team felt a deep connection to the world beneath their feet. They were not simply visitors, they were participants in a living, breathing system, one that had the power to shape their future and teach them the value of harmony. Closing scene. The future beckons as the sun set over the glowing forests of Harmora. Arya and Orion returned to the hill overlooking the settlements. The twin moons rose, reflecting in the rivers below. The gentle pulse of the signal echoed in the air and water, soft and rhythmic, like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Arya spoke quietly, almost to herself. "We have survived the ashes. We have learned, built, and grown. And yet, this is only the beginning. There is so much more to see, to understand, and to create." Orion smiled. "And we will face it together. Humans, Lithari, Varine, everyone. The stars are watching and Harmora is guiding us. The future is waiting." Arya gazed at the horizon, feeling the promise of infinite possibility. Humanity's journey had led them to a world of wonder, connection, and hope. They had risen from the ashes, and the stars held their breath, waiting to witness what they would do next. The signal pulsed once more, steady and warm, a reminder that life, care, and unity were the keys to a future that could shine brighter than any star, and humanity was ready. The first light of Harmora's twin suns stretched across the valleys, painting the forests and rivers in golden hues. Birds with shimmering feathers sang in the treetops, and the gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers. The planet felt alive and welcoming, its pulse soft but steady, as though it had been waiting for humanity to arrive and find its place among the stars. Captain Arya stood on a hill overlooking the growing settlements. Humans, Lithari, and Vereen worked together in harmony. Gardens flourished under careful hands, workshops buzzed with creative energy, and the air was filled with the laughter of children running across fields. It was a sight that filled her with pride and humility. From the ashes of Earth, humanity had risen, not through power but through patience, learning, and hope. Orion joined her silently, gazing at the horizon. "It feels like a dream," he said, "but it's real. We've built something extraordinary here." Arya smiled. "Yes, and this is only the beginning. Harmora has given us guidance, the stars have watched, and now it is our responsibility to create a future worthy of both. Harmony in daily life." The days passed with quiet purpose. The settlements expanded gently, respecting the natural flow of the planet. Humans learned from the Lithari how to harness energy without harming the environment. The Vereen taught them about resonance and balance, showing how buildings, pathways, and even gardens could harmonize with the planet's rhythms. Children learned lessons of cooperation, care, and creativity. They planted trees, tended gardens, and observed the rivers and streams. They were growing up in a world where respect for life was not a rule, but a natural way of living. Dr. Myra walked through the gardens with a group of students. "See how each plant interacts with the others?" she said. "This planet teaches balance. Every action has a reaction, every choice matters. That is the lesson of Harmora." Arya observed from a distance, thinking about the journey that had brought humanity here. The ashes of Earth had been a painful teacher, but they had prepared humanity to embrace this new world fully. The signal revealed, the mysterious signal continued to pulse, steady and gentle. It was no longer merely a guide. It had become a part of life on Harmora. Scientists and engineers worked together to understand it fully, discovering patterns that reflected the natural cycles of the planet. The signal seemed almost like a language of life itself, speaking in rhythms of growth, harmony, and balance. One evening, Arya and Orion visited the observatory. The sky was clear and the twin moons reflected softly in the rivers below. The signal pulsed stronger than ever. Dr. Myra joined them, excitement in her voice. "I think I understand now," she said. "The signal is teaching us how to live in unity with the planet. It's not just guidance, it's a partnership. Harmora communicates through the signal, showing us how to thrive without taking too much, how to build without disturbing, how to grow without rushing." Arya felt a wave of awe. It's a teacher, a mentor, and a friend. We are not alone here. The stars watched our rise from the ashes, and now the planet itself is showing us the way forward. Orion added, "And every choice we make now sets the tone for the generations to come. We've been given a second chance. We cannot squander it." Discovery of the Crystal Caves exploration continued beyond the settlements. One day, a team discovered a series of crystal caves hidden within a nearby mountain range. The caves shimmered with light, reflecting the sun in brilliant patterns. Inside, the walls pulsed faintly with energy, almost like a heartbeat resonating with the rhythm of the signal. "Look at this," said Lyra, the Lithari engineer. "These crystals are alive in some way. They respond to sound, movement, and even our energy. It's incredible." Dr. Myra examined a cluster of crystals. They seemed to amplify the planet's natural energies. This could be a source of sustainable power, or even a way to communicate with the signal more directly. Arya stepped forward, her eyes reflecting the crystal's glow. "This is a gift. Harmora has given us not just a home, but tools to grow wisely, to understand life more deeply, and to ensure our survival without harming what surrounds us." The crew spent days studying the caves, learning to move in harmony with the crystals and the signal. It was a lesson in patience, cooperation, and the quiet power of observation. A celebration of life. As the settlements flourished, Arya organized the first Festival of Harmony. It was a celebration of growth, cooperation, and the new beginning humanity had been given. The inhabitants of Harmora gathered in the Central Valley, where music, laughter, and storytelling filled the air. Humans shared tales of Earth, of oceans and mountains, of cities and forests lost but remembered. The Lithari sang songs of energy, light, and connection. The Virene added crystalline harmonies that resonated in the air, making the forests and rivers seem to join in the melody. Children danced in the fields, planting symbolic seeds in celebration of life, while adults shared food and ideas. It was a moment of unity that transcended species, language, and history. A moment where humanity's rise from the ashes was no longer a story of survival, but of thriving together. Arya watched the festival, her heart full. "We've learned from our past," she said to Orion, "and now we're creating a future that honors it." "This is what hope looks like," Orion nodded. "And the stars? They must be proud." The promise to the stars at night, under the glow of the twin moons, Arya stood at the highest hill overlooking Harmora. The settlements glimmered like constellations mirrored on the ground. The signal pulsed gently in the air, almost like a heartbeat of the planet itself. She thought of Earth, of the ashes left behind, of the struggles and the pain, and yet here they were, alive, together, and learning to live with care, patience, and hope. The stars held their breath. She whispered, "And we have risen. Not with force, not with fear, but with courage, unity, and the desire to grow." Orion stood beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "We've shown the universe what humanity can be. But this is just the start. There will be new challenges, new discoveries, and new wonders, and we will face them together." Arya smiled, feeling the warmth of hope spread through her. "Then let us continue. For Harmora, for the stars, and for the generations to come, we rise, and we will never forget what it took to reach this moment." A new beginning. The days that followed were filled with steady progress. Farms expanded, energy systems harmonized with the planet, and the community grew stronger in both skill and spirit. Humans learned to listen to Harmora, to respond to the pulse of the signal, and to work alongside their allies with care and respect. Children grew up learning not only survival skills, but also the importance of cooperation, empathy, and curiosity. They played, explored, and observed, carrying the lessons of the planet into their hearts. Every evening, as the twin moons rose, the inhabitants of Harmora paused to listen to the pulse of the signal. It was no longer mysterious or intimidating. It was a reminder that they were part of a living, breathing system, an invitation to grow wisely, peacefully, and in harmony with the universe. Arya often stood among them, watching the next generation laugh and learn, feeling the quiet joy of a people who had not only survived but had truly begun to live. The stars watched far above Harmora. In the silent expanse of space, the stars twinkled in quiet approval. They had watched humanity's journey, from a fragile civilization struggling to survive, to a species that had risen from the ashes, learning to grow with care, wisdom, and hope. The pulse of the signal carried outward, reaching distant systems, carrying the story of a species that had learned to rise without harming, to build without destroying, to thrive without fear. Somewhere across the universe, other civilizations would witness this story, inspired by humanity's courage and patience. For the first time, life among the stars felt connected, hopeful, and alive. Closing scene. Humanity's promise captain Arya and Orion stood side by side, gazing at the horizon where the twin moons touched the forests and rivers. The settlements glowed softly, a testament to careful work, unity, and respect for life. Arya spoke quietly, almost as if to the stars themselves. "We have risen from the ashes. We have learned to live with care, respect, and hope. This is our promise to Harmora, to the stars, and to ourselves. We will continue to grow, to explore, and to honor every life we encounter." Orion nodded, eyes reflecting the gentle glow of the planet. "And the stars will watch, and the universe will know that humanity has truly risen." The pulse of the signal echoed once more, steady, warm, and alive. A final reminder that the journey was not over, It had only begun, and humanity, at last, had found its place among the stars.